Hello, everybody. It is Thursday, the 18th of August. I'm going absolutely mad here at the moment. My head is a riot. First of all, I want to say, please, if anybody's out there that can make a donation to this channel, please do so, because I'm hitting rock bottom here and I really don't know where to turn anymore. And I know that I want to know, I am the thing that can ask of the Creator. I am the thing that can create outcomes. And that is what we should be. And that is what we should become. And right now I still cannot do it. And it is, for the most part, the serpent, the doubt. There's something wrong. And telling me you don't know it all. That's what I keep saying. It keeps saying, you don't know it all. Don't ask now. Because you do not ask out of the fullness of the knowledge. And, whatever will come out of it will be crooked. Will be completely crooked. And that's what we do. We create crooked outcomes. So, but I want to get to that point. We should not be sitting here begging of each other. But we should become that creature that can do that. That has got the confidence to do that. And that knows, absolutely knows, that has a knowing of what it is asking for, because that is the biggest stumbling point. It is the doubt. So I was talking to my friend who is again on the Neville Goddard trip. What is it we need to know? And Neville Goddard says that you are the cross on which God nails himself. And that is actually very true. And you become the image of whatever God nails himself to your cross. You are God in your entirety. You are God. Yeah? And it is not that something has to come. Nothing has to come from the outside to nail itself to you. You need to become a reality. That is what is wrong. And it is out of the entire judgment of ourselves and thinking there's something out there so much greater than us that has to come and become us. It's a completely wrong way of looking at that. But, and here's the thing, out of the judgment of ourselves and thinking that we need to become something else, that's where we're always going wrong. It's where Jesus went wrong. Again, he had this image of God, an image of God that would become him, and he actually did that. God is all compassion, and God is just the will to give to everything. So that was his image of God, and he started feeding his emotional energy of compassion, letting the rest starve, put fear into the bottomless pit. Obviously not. That's obviously a spare part. You obviously just an accumulation of an awful lot of spare parts that are not really needed. So get rid of that one. And he became the image of what he imagined God would be. And he became an awful lot less than what he actually was. And it is the same with Neville Goddard. There is an image given to you what God is. God is your beautiful imagination. There you have him nailed. Yeah? You have him nailed as your beautiful imagination. And what else? You need an emotion. I'll be all love. Love and beautiful imagination. And yeah, there you have God nailed. That is who he is. Of course, you end up with an awful lot of spare parts in yourself. You have rational thought, throw that out of the window. You get rid of fear, get rid of I don't know what. Become. Because you will become. If you feed that thought, it will become your reality. Yeah? And you might, apparently they do, they create outcomes. Jesus created outcomes. But, you will become just that. Love and your beautiful imagination. Now imagine yourself being just that. No more rational thought, no more fear. Is that what you want to become when you grow up? When you become a God? And even our esteemed leaders, which obviously have not done that on, I would think, for the most part, on, imagining a God, or what their God has become, again, what their desire, and God is a desire. Yeah? What their desire was, to have control, to have the riches and to have control over this world. And again, they became, not looking at it as a God, but maybe just a desire. But they became that. And they're doing it according to that desire. And of course, for that, you need to get rid of empathy. If you rule over, you can't feel sorry for the prats that you're ruling over. So they got rid of empathy and they became. And in all of these things, yeah, actually, you are the cross. But what you actually nailed was God into something very small, into just one part of what you are. And then you must become that in order to function. And then you are, I am that I am. And yes, you are receiving of the all. But you're much smaller than what you should be. So, in your fullness, and there we go, you are emotional knowing. And there's a lot of knowing there because you're lots of different emotions. You are rational knowing and you are imagination. Yeah? There are two parts there that create thought. There's an awful lot of emotions that create knowings. Yeah? And here we come to the heart. Because in the heart, people talk about heart knowledge. It's actually the meeting place. And it is the birth of desires. The birthplace for desires. Because an emotion on itself, fear, hunger, stuff like that, is not actually a desire. It is just that. It's an emotional energy. It is when you place a thought on it that it becomes a desire. And out of that desire, you create intentions, stuff that you do to get to that desire, to the fulfillment of that desire. So that is what your heart really is. It is the birthplace of desires, where the head knowledge and the emotional energy come together to create, to give birth to a desire. Yeah, and then look what is our head knowledge at the moment. Look what emotions are we in and what the hell are we creating in the hot, it's a bloody riot. Yeah? We are in fear, we have thoughts of, I don't know what's going on in this world, wars and rumors of wars and the medications and, we have fear out of that, grow desires for, I don't know, bullets, beans and bunkers, crawl under a stone, leave the planet altogether. And then we have other thoughts of what we might be. Yeah? Or we are this being that can ask, and then we have this thing from Jesus, anything is possible, and place that onto emotions. Yeah, and then we come to cars, houses, well, bunkers if it's fear, but anything is possible. You can get yourself a bunker. Anything and everything. It is a complete and utter riot. There's no order. We are creating desires, we're half going with them, and then they die again because another thought comes, so we run into a different direction, and hell. Yeah, it is hell. That is exactly what it is. It's hell. What is it you need? What is it you actually need? First of all, you need to accept yourself. Absolutely. Don't judge. Don't judge anything. And you see, it is out of that you are at war with yourself. Yeah? Your brain is at war. Especially when you go like with the Neville Goddard thing. Then and I'm being shouted at, get out of your rational side. Go into your imagination. Well, darlings, if it weren't for your rational knowing, you couldn't have imagination. You need to know something to imagine from there. Yeah? So, and as I said, imagination can go everywhere. It needs to be restricted to something useful. So those two parts are at war with each other. Yeah? The thoughts are at war with the emotions sometimes. The thought should rule over the emotion. The emotion should do according to the thought. Or the emotion says, well, I'm the greater knowledge. Listen to me, and then have thoughts according to me. So everything is at war with everything else. That is because we think we have to make choices. Yeah? We have to choose one part over another. And we will end up with spare parts in the end because they're just evil and not needed. This is not about making choices. This is about knowing who you are. The self needs to know what it is on a spiritual level. Yeah? It needs to know all these forces, the thoughts, the desires. And it bloody well needs to rule over them. And what creates order in that riot that is going on is an intention. It's an intention. Yeah? This is what we need to do. Have a desire according to that. Yeah? I am at that point. Yeah? I'm saying, yes, I'm here. I need some stuff really desperately. And the serpent keeps coming to me and says, you're not a god. You don't know what you're doing. You're going to create chaos. Don't ask. Bad enough what you're doing on a physical level, Don't start manifesting. What is the one desire we should have? Or the desires we should truly have before we can go anywhere else the desire to accept ourselves, to be confident in ourselves, to accept ourselves in our totality, yeah, to have the knowledge of our forces, an understanding of our forces, what they should serve, to have a knowledge of that, and when I say knowledge, is you don't have to think about it. It is your nature. You understand yourself on that level. Yeah, the same way as you understand your hand, going there and picking something up, the same way as you know your own breathing. Yeah, we must know ourselves, and we must ask nature what it is these things are doing. And out of the knowledge of ourselves, we need the knowledge of others. We need empathy. And again, Serpent keeps saying, you're not God, you don't know it all. No, God does. No, God does know it all. You are a part, but you need to know yourself in your fullness. That is, you need to be omnipotent, all-knowing, according to what you are. That's what you need to know. And out of that, you can start creating. And out of the knowledge of others. So you have the knowledge of self, the complete knowledge of self, and that is what we keep being driven away from through judgment that is given to us by others. And then when we know we are not God, then God must be something else. Yeah? God must be something else, it's not me. So which parts of me are God-like? Choose them, elevate them, instead of being God in your entirety. You are in your entirety. And that is what we need to know. And we need to be confident in ourselves. And that is the knowledge of what we can do. The knowledge of what we can do, truly knowing what we can actually do and what we should be. And that is the next one, the knowledge of what we should be doing. And that is the knowledge of others, knowledge of ourselves and knowledge of others, because what we do impact on others. And what that is a conscience. That is a conscience. We need to be conscious and we need a conscience in order to get this right. And again, conscience is another part of us that is not functioning terribly well. Because we've been told not to go by our own understanding. Yeah? We've been told good is bad and bad is good, and if your conscience tells you otherwise, you're the village idiot. So we have suppressed parts of ourselves. Our conscience is according to whatever we're being told. If your country tells you it's righteous to go to war, and your conscience tells you otherwise, and you become a conscious objector, then you are, not patriotic, you're a coward, you're no good, you're being judged by everybody else whose conscience is fully not functioning, and they're just doing as they're told, and they're keeping their own knowledge down because they've been told that to do that. If this is a time where we can ask for something, then first of all, we must become ourselves. And before we're that, there was one last thing I was thinking about. Again, it is that from inside of us, which is a riot, and crooked as hell, and everything is imbalanced, we are creating outside of ourselves, and that is pretty much what we're looking at. Imbalanced, crooked, yeah. And I was thinking about, all the different parts of us, and that they are at war with each other, because that's what we've been told, and been told in the Bible and everything. We must suppress, we must elevate, we must get rid of parts. We are at war. Yeah? One part of you is condemning another. Compassion is condemning fear. Your imagination is condemning the rational thought. And it is this idea that it needs to be ruling over. Something needs to rule. Something has to be in charge. Something has to be stronger than the rest. Yeah? Whereas right now there's a thought coming up again in our consciousness. It's everywhere again. Balance was one of them, obviously, and the other one is cooperation. That's a word that is everywhere. And again, we're looking outside of ourselves. Yeah, look at nature. There is a living God teaching you, and it does. Yeah, cooperation. But then the next level we look at people. We're looking outside of ourselves, cooperating with other people, or nations cooperating with each other. And again, we're not looking inside. This is where cooperation has to happen. This is where balance has to be. This is the war. This is where the war has to stop. This is where, if we need to accept each other, we need to accept ourselves. This is where acceptance has to be first. And when it's happening inside of ourselves, the world will become a reflection of that. But we need to become first. And that is what we need to do. We need to become. And as Jesus asked of the all, and he did, and he became the wrong thing. As Neville Goddard says, God is your beautiful imagination. Do all the time according to that, and you will become your beautiful imagination. I would imagine it's quite an idiot, but still. So we need to become the fullness of ourselves. And if we can no longer do that in a mechanical fashion, that is through repetition, through doing until we are, then we will have to ask for that. We have to ask for that. As I said before, we are at a point where on a materialistic knowing, we can no longer fix this. We need to receive. We need to receive. We can no longer fix this ourselves. It's such a mess. But then we must ask for the correct thing, and that is, let me know myself. Let me accept myself. And through knowing myself, give me the ability to know others. You won't know them in their entirety, only according to yourself. But even that will help you to do the right thing, hopefully. In the end, we are still growing in the knowledge of ourselves. We are growing in both the knowledge of self and in conscience. Both parts should grow together. That is the knowledge of how far what can I be, what can I do, that is expanding. And conscience, which is where your boundaries are being set, so you don't fly out into the blue yonder. But that is what we should ask for. Anyway, I'll leave it at this, and let me say one more time, if you can help me right now, please do so. Anyway, I'll leave it at that, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.